To me, because we are just 2 days away from kickoff, opening night between the Cowboys and Eagles. The NFL will be here before you know it. We welcome you into NFL Live, and time for more on this matchup. We're going to go right to our Cowboys reporter, Todd Archer. Todd, what are you hearing about the challenges this Eagles defense will present to Dak Prescott and the offense on Thursday night?
Yeah, Laura, it's a little bit of a cat and mouse game during this week, right? You have Brian Schottenheimer telling Vic Fangio, hey, Vic, send me a message. Tell me how much you're going to play cover two. I don't know if he'll do that, but Dak Prescott, this will be the fourth start that he's had of his career against Fangio. Saw him in 2016 as a rookie, just the third start of his career, again in 21, again in 23. And he's got 5 touchdown passes and 1 interception in those games, but he has just a 1-2 record. And remember, he didn't play against the Eagles last year because of that hamstring tear that required surgery. But he said the Eagles defense, not very complicated. They keep it simple. Brian Schottenheimer said they're an elite team when it comes to pre-snap communication. So Prescott knows that he's going to have to use his eyes, move people around, be decisive. And one thing he said, we want to be the aggressors. I go back to the 2021 opener against Tampa Bay when Dak's coming off that right ankle injury. First play of the game, a 28-yard go ball down to Amari Cooper. Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb. They have George Pickens. We know they want to show them off. They just better have some answers for that Fangio pass rush.
Yeah, I love it. That's a good reminder, Todd. Maybe a way to think about something other than Micah Parsons, so we appreciate you. Of course, the biggest story out of Dallas is still the trade of Micah Parsons to the Packers. I love it. Quarterback Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb spoke on the trade for the first time on Monday.
I can't say I was completely surprised, but I definitely didn't think he was going to get traded. I'll say that. But just with the way that their negotiations went down, obviously, to some extent, I mean, hell, y'all were asking me questions. It seemed like it got personal in their ends. So, that's why I wasn't surprised.
I wouldn't say it was easy for us to move on, nor would I say it's hard. It's just, it sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a repetitive thought. As Michael being drafted here, I would have loved for him to finish his career and with a star on his helmet, but obviously that wasn't the case. But yeah, man, that sucked.
All right, well, welcome to NFL Live. You see Marcus Spears, Mina Kimes, Dan Orlovsky. We got the OG band back together. That means the season is almost here. Slack, let's look ahead to Thursday's game against Philly. What is the biggest question surrounding that Cowboys defense now that they're without Parsons?
Well, I know one damn question they better not have is that stopping the run. And they come out the gate with one of the most difficult teams to try to show your new piece against in bringing in Kenny Clark. Listen, this is going to be a challenge. Even when you're good against the run, the Philadelphia Eagles had success against multiple teams last year. But the question is going to, and everybody's going to be paying attention to what are you going to do on third down situations? Are you going to be able to generate pass rush? Are you going to affect the quarterback? Can you find somebody to run down Jalen Hurts when he starts to take off in the pocket? Who will the guy be? They brought Dante Fowler back. You got Nealon, you got Ezraku. Who will the guy be that's going to generate pressure from the outside? Because in no way do I expect one individual to impact the game, especially in the passing game like Micah Parsons did for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, fella, for me, that's why this game's not really a referendum on is the Cowboys defense going to be improved, stopping the run. Kenny Clark has been there for 4 or 5 days. They're going against one of the, if not the best rushing football teams in the NFL, certainly one of the best offensive lines. So it's still a wait and see how improved the rush defense is. I would make the case that pass defense is primarily more important in today's NFL than rush defense. But with the addition of Kenny Clark, if Odighizuwa and him can help, Marcus's point, that'll be the most fascinating part of this game. When and if the Cowboys defense can get the Eagles into passing situations, does anybody sniff getting close to Jalen Hurts? But again, let's give this defense in Dallas a couple weeks to set in before we see if they've improved in the run defense area.
Well, they better get some pressure on Jalen Hurts, Dan, because I think lost in all of this conversation about the defensive line and Parsons and the run defenses, there are major holes in this secondary. The back seven, really, the linebacking group, question marks, a weakness in my mind. Secondary, Trevon Diggs is activated. He himself has said he might be 75%. A.J. Brown, not the player you want to be 75% against if he's out there. DaRon Bland, I don't know if they play him at the nickel in this one because of Devontae Smith, but then if you do that, you open up another glaring weakness at cornerback too. We know the math problem that this Eagles offense presents for defenses. If you stack the box against the run, you play man coverage, they'll punish you through the air. And I worry that if Dallas does focus on stopping Saquon Barkley, they're going to get obliterated through the air because of the weaknesses they've got in the back end.
Yeah, MK, I think one of the things that's interesting, not only Thursday night, but about the secondary in general is Trayvon and really DaRon Bland were ball hawks, but in many times, like playing man coverage, they would just have the ability to sit on stuff and pick the ball off. Matt Eberflus is not a man coverage kind of centric coach. They're going to play a lot more zone and a lot more shell down in Dallas. How do those secondary players, they're great players, but how do they fit in? Do they have the same amount of impact indifferent of the pass rush?
Yeah, guys, something that I think is going to be huge. We just saw this. Eagles Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson upgraded to a full practice today, putting him on track to be able to play Thursday night. That's big. Also, Dan, people are worried that you're making a hostage video. He's just at the U.S. Open, guys. It looks a little weird, Dan. I don't know what your background is.
I am literally in a dark closet.
Yeah,
that wall look expensive, though. That wall look expensive.
Yeah, we all I kind of fell off a cliff there because I got so distracted by whatever Dan's doing. All right, in this article released this morning by Jeremy Fowler, new details emerged about how the Micah Parsons trade actually went down. This is pretty interesting. Some excerpts from the article, you can check it all out on ESPN.com. But the pivotal meeting that led to one of the most shocking NFL trades of the past decade occurred on a pleasant North Texas morning in mid-March. 5 months and a lifetime of ill feelings ahead of any deal being put to paper. The Cowboys believed they had a deal in place with Parsons and would continue to insist that he had agreed to it. Though the exact terms aren't known, Cowboys sources insist they offered more guaranteed money than the $136 million Parsons would get from Green Bay, albeit spread across a 5-year extension, not the 4-year extension that the Packers worked out. Quote, it was north of $150 million, the source said. To this day, Parsons' agency has never seen the final details or structure of the deal that Jones said he cut with Parsons. Parsons' agent, David Mulgeta, spoke to First Take this morning regarding the negotiations.
He got a call from Jerry's assistant and was asked to come in to meet about leadership. So when he got back from his vacation, he came in and he gave him a call, told him he was back, he was ready to meet. At some point during that meeting that was represented to him was going to be about leadership, it turned into contract talk. And, if you're a 25-year-old football player and your boss, who happens to be the most powerful person in the NFL, starts talking about contracts, it's hard for you to end that conversation. So they had a conversation. Micah nodded his head out of respect. Obviously, there's a power dynamic that's a little different there. One guy is the owner of the team and the GM, and the other one is Micah Parsons, a young 25-year-old football player. So I'm not sure if there was a miscommunication there by the time Micah walked out, but at no point did Micah believe that he was negotiating a contract.
Ooh, Swag, what do you make of all this in Dallas?
It's so many layers, Boogie. But I have come to the conclusion that Dallas didn't want to sign Micah Parsons. And if they didn't, this is what people have been saying, is you should have made that decision earlier and maybe got more compensation. But all of this stuff that's coming out now is just like Boogie and Dio and Mina, we've all been in relationships, okay? The lady looks phenomenal and she cooks phenomenal. She does great things when you're in a relationship. The man look good, he smell good, he the best boyfriend ever. And then when you break up, ain't none of them worth crap. And somebody lying, right? That's always the case. So again, you think about all of the layers that have come across with this story. The bottom line is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL in their prime didn't get a contract extension from a team that he was the face of defensively. Ended up on a team in the NFC that you potentially have to meet in the playoffs if Dallas gets there. I expect Green Bay to get there. And now you had this whole thing with Jerry and David Mulgeta and not having conversations. Talk to my agent, all of the bad blood and the personal stuff. But if you didn't really have a plan to sign Micah Parsons and you kind of just belabored this thing to try to figure out what the narrative would be when it was all said and done, you played yourself, Dallas. You either should have got it done earlier, got the contract done earlier at a cheaper rate like Mulgeta alluded to a year ago, or
you.